In this video, I'm going to provide you with a full in-depth guide on how to use Streeteasy in order to find an apartment in New York City. Streeteasy is a decent tool whether you're trying to rent a place or you're trying to buy a place. So make sure to go ahead and select on rent over here if you're looking to rent a place. And then what you want to do is you want to go ahead and select on the location, the neighborhood or the boroughs, and the price as well. So for this video, let's go ahead and actually work with Queens, for example. So let's go ahead and type that in. Yep, there you go, Queens. Then go ahead and press on done. And for the price, you want to go ahead and set your minimum and maximum price. So let's say our minimum is 500 and our maximum is 4,000. Then you want to go ahead and click on the search bar right over here. It is then going to scan the area right over here, and it's going to give you like these bubbles over here. And whenever you see a lot of bubbles, that means that there are a lot of apartments that meet your criteria. But guys, there's probably more things you want to adjust as well. So you still want to add more filters. So what you want to do is you want to go ahead and select on the amount of bedrooms you want, whether you want a studio or something like that. So let's say we wanted to get a studio, for example. We can go ahead and do that. Press on done. And where it says pets, what you guys can do is you can go ahead and select on pets allowed over here and amenities. If there's anything specific you want, like a washer / dryer in your unit or a private outdoor space, a doorman, laundry, etc. Here is where you would go ahead and go. You would toggle all these filters and stuff like that. And now what you want to do from here is you want to go ahead and actually find places that you want to go ahead and live in. You could use the map in order to look for an area, and you guys can also use this option that says sort by. And then you guys could select on newest, recently updated, most expensive, least expensive, largest, smallest. So let's go ahead and filter by the largest right over here and see what options we do get. Okay, so it is giving us this option right over here. All right, so you guys need to be careful because over here it is going to say featured, and those are typically units that paid to be on the top over here. So if you actually want to find the first result, scroll a little bit until it doesn't say featured. All right, so this seems to be the biggest one. So let's go ahead and click on it just like so. And here is how a typical listing will look like. Now, I want to give you guys a couple red flags as well. Now, because even though Streeteasy is a decent option, unfortunately, there are still some bad actors and stuff like that. And what you always want to look out for is you want to make sure that there is actually multiple images. If there's like no images whatsoever, or the images look AI generated, that is typically not a good thing. And you always want to Google the real estate broker as well. So make sure to go ahead and Google this person over here. And also what I recommend that you guys do is see if they have other listings. So you just want to make sure that they're actually legit. They have a history and stuff like that. So as you're able to tell, this person has a lot of experience. So that is a good sign. Okay, so let's go ahead and look at the images and stuff like that. So here is how things do look like. So you want to go ahead and see if it's something you do like. And over here, make sure to read the about as well, the policies, the home features, the building amenities and stuff like that. And what I always recommend that you guys do before you start messaging anybody or anything like that is to go ahead and select on this option that says full breakdown. This is going to give you the full cost of moving in, because typically what they require is that they require 1 month base rent, a security deposit as well. So in this instance, we have to pay the first month's rent and a security deposit. So that means on the day we move in, we need to pay like double the amount of rent. And that can definitely make a huge difference. So guys, just make sure that you actually take a look at that. So another important thing to note is that under New York City law, you cannot be charged for a broker fee if you didn't hire a broker. So if you start talking to these people and they start asking for like broker fees and stuff like that, that is illegal. So guys, keep that in mind. You could obviously use a broker if you want to, but if you don't hire a broker, there is no need for you to pay a broker fee. All right, so the way this process works is that you typically request a tour of the place first. And then after you request a tour and you like the place and stuff like that, and you know it does work for you, then you can ask the broker to send you an application. And then you have to fill out that application in order to get approved. So the application will require you to upload your photo ID, whether that be like a passport, a driver's license, etc. And most importantly, it is going to look through your credit score. You will need to upload bank statements as well, typically the last 3 to 4 months of bank statements, just to make sure that you are making enough money. And also, they're going to ask you for your tax information. So you will need to upload your taxes as well to make sure that you actually do make sufficient amount. And yes, you are able to go ahead and apply with co-tenants as well. So if you want to apply with like a sibling or something like that, that is another option as well. Now, there is a really important rule that you guys need to know, and that is the 40x rule. And basically what that means is that you need to make the annual income that is 40 times the monthly rent. So let's say in this example, our monthly rent is $3,800. So let's go ahead and take out our calculator really quickly. So that means your yearly income in order to actually afford this place needs to be this times 40. So in this case, you would need to make $152,000 a year in order to afford this place. Now, if you're looking for places and you realize that you don't meet the 40x requirement, then what you could do is get something called a guarantor. A guarantor is somebody who actually meets the 40x requirement, and basically they apply with you. And what that does is that if you are not able to pay rent, then the responsibility goes to the guarantor, which is typically someone who earns a lot more money and stuff like that. Now, let's go ahead and break down the cost of a guarantor because that's also really important. Now, I'm not going to lie, this varies wildly. You can use services like InsureRent in order to get a guarantor. It's important to know that not every place accepts things like InsureRent and stuff like that. Some places want private guarantors, and that's typically someone you know, maybe a parent or an uncle or something like that. So just keep that in mind. Before you actually ask for a tour, ask them, do you take InsureRent? You're able to use InsureRent in order to get a guarantor, and that's typically around like 1 to 1.5 months of rent. So as you're able to tell, the cost can really add up. All right, and then you need to submit your application and you need to wait to see if you get approved. Guys, I know finding an apartment in New York City can be very frustrating, but keep in mind that it is one of the greatest cities on the planet. There's so many opportunities and stuff like that. And if you really have a mission, then I really suggest that you go all out. You know, try to get as much resources as possible. Try to get guarantors to help you out and stuff like that. Or maybe spend some time to build up your credit score. Or maybe even take up a second job so that you're able to get stronger bank statements and you're more likely to get approved for one of these apartments. If you guys found this video helpful, make sure to leave a like and subscribe. I'll see you in the next tutorial.